There's definitely a good bit of reason to be concerned about this chart that we've got with Bitcoin right now. We have slid below $25,000. We've lost the Ichimoku cloud. We've basically fallen to the bottom of this parallel channel that represents our support line. So there is a lot here to unpack, and I'm not going to go through it all with you. I'm actually going to come back with another YouTube video later on tonight, so double check that you're subscribed. You got the bell icon checked so that you get the full scope. But this very quick update is essential. 3 longs for every short on the 𝗬𝗙𝗏𝗧 dashboard right now. So we are definitely very bullish and very excited for retail traders right now. Bybit, majority short. This is typically, you know, when we have a big disparity, when Binance retail is massively long and Bybit is generally leaning short, the market generally does drop down. And that's not great because, yeah, we are sitting at $25,000. So let's unpack this and talk about where we are. Quick update. I'm still in my position, made over $200,000, secured over 100K, basically doubled my money on this trade. I'm still in this trade and I'm not worried about it because I've been telling you guys about the support levels that I'm watching on this chart, and they actually kind of stretch all the way back down to like 24K, 23.7 even much lower than that, you know, if you want to be extra bearish. And you know, my argument is still going to rest on traditional finance. You know, crypto itself is obviously seeing some weird stuff going on right now, but traditional finance still strong. Gold, to be fair, has been dropping down. And I think that's one of the reasons that Bitcoin is struggling, because Bitcoin and gold have been pretty closely correlated, you know, in these recent months. I'd say the dollar is continuing to basically continue to move lower. I mean, you know, today is a bit of an update, but I mean, overall from the high at about 104.6, and I did tell you that, you know, 105 basically is the resistance level. So we came super close to that and got rejected. You know, we are still kind of generally trending down. So none of this really makes sense for Bitcoin. You know, it's not what you want to see. It's definitely, you know, not the kind of picture that builds confidence, but that doesn't have to be super concerning. You know, it doesn't have to be something that we worry about too much. And I want to show you why in this YouTube video. So this parallel channel is still a support level. And while everybody is probably starting to lose their minds and absolutely just get terrified with this market right now, we're still at a support area. And this is really useful to keep in mind. Bitcoin's love language is deviations. If there's anything that you guys know about me saying on this YouTube channel, if you've been subscribed for some time, I always tell you guys that deviations are Bitcoin's love language. And we formed a really nice one up here at 30K, right? If we take a look at this horizontal line, this basically represents 29.7. Let's just move this up to 30K. Doesn't really matter. We don't have to be exact about this. But what's very clear is that for days, we traded above this resistance level, and that clearly makes it a deviation. And we also did it when we captured support. So we had this really nice trend line here, and we deviated below it for like a week, and then we came back above. And obviously this was one of the more extreme deviations, but a deviation nonetheless. So, you know, one of the big things that I want to pose to you as a question, because you guys know the deal, I'm not here to convince you of anything. I don't care about that. I'm just kind of doing my own analysis. But as a YouTuber, I want to get you thinking. I want to get those juices flowing in your brain. That probably doesn't happen. I don't think that's actually true. But but I just want to get you thinking. I want to get you asking questions that bring you closer to your truth. And you know, with the reminder of deviations and the fact that we've seen so many of these already. I mean, you know, we've got this beautiful area of support right here at about what is this? Let's just take a look at this price level. This is about $19,000 right here. And we formed a deviation here, a multi-month deviation, 60 days we were down here, right? And this was clearly a deviation because the market just kind of came back above this line right here. So, you know, we formed them on small time frames. We formed them on big time frames. It is very common for Bitcoin. So, you know, that's one of the things that makes this market incredibly challenging to trade. But obviously, again, like I've been saying for some time, if you know how to game this stuff, then it puts all the advantages in your favor. And if we're looking at something like that, then there is a good amount of leeway for Bitcoin to drop down, capture, you know, just keep screwing these. Like every time, you know, the Binance retail longs are massively long and the price keeps on dropping, that's just more and more liquidations. That's just more and more liquidity. And if we see this really flip, if we lose 25K and it's like a little flash crash and things get really scary, I think that's definitely where we can start to see some, you know, kind of changes in the long and short ratio, because it still hasn't happened. What I do like is that the fear and greed index right here on the 𝗬𝗙𝗏𝗧 dashboard is starting to drop down a little bit. We're now in fearful territory, which is amazing. You know, that is exactly exactly what you want to see. You don't generally rise when the market is super, super bullish unless you're in a bull market, and we're not in a bull market, and we know that super clearly. So, starting to see this pulling back is a good sign. Things are going in our favor. Long and short ratio is a lot more like, just up and down and extremes. So, I'm not gonna, read into it too much, but, like the fear and greed index, it moves smoothly. Long and short ratio, it just snaps and it just like evens out, or it snaps and then it goes to like 3 longs for every short. So, if we take a look at the fear and greed index, this is something I was talking to you about in recent videos. We have been slowly kind of just trending down with the fear and greed index, right? Look at this over the last 3 months. We were kind of averaging, the 60s, the high 50s, low 60s, mid 60s even. And then, we enter a new baseline where we're just kind of around the 50s, the high 40s, low 50s kind of thing. And now we're in the low 40s. So we have just kind of been, trending down. You can see that even more clearly going from April to June. It has been a clear downtrend in sentiment. People are getting scared. People are getting a little bit less interested in the market as we're approaching critical areas of support. So you guys know the deal. I talk about this all the time. This is where all the opportunities are in the market, and you have got some amazing offers available to you with the links in the description down below. You've got BingX, which does not require KYC. You can trade basically everything. It's kind of crazy. You've got obviously all the crypto pairs that you're already interested in, but you've also got access to traditional finance, which is pretty cool. I just can't find it when I'm on video a lot of the time, but it is here, and you'll find it. So this is really cool. Very, very cool to see it's available. You've got Tesla, Apple, S&P 500, gold, oil. You can trade them all with leverage, all just with a Bitcoin deposit. Those of you that are more privacy minded, you check in all these boxes, so it is well worth checking out. And Bybit will give you up to 30K to just trade with, just depending on what you deposit, depending on what you trade with. Once you start trading using my link in the description down below, they're going to give you up to $30,000 of additional trading capital. And any profits that you generate with that are yours to withdraw. So that is well worth checking out. And if we do move it back to the market to talk about where these opportunities are, it's this support area. I totally get it. We are not doing things that build confidence. If we look at this on some of the larger timeframes, obviously we know that 30K is a phenomenal area of resistance, and we are understandably finding resistance there. I mean, this is an area that we knew we'd find problems in, and now we're forming a little bit of a pullback, and we're now down to a critical area of support. If we actually look at this chart and try and find support, we're on the weekly time frame here, it's not too easy to find support. There's just not that much, on these super, super large time frames. We've got 25K, which is obviously incredibly strong. I mean, I've already covered this with you at length for why 25K is a really strong area of support for Bitcoin. But to very quickly recap it, we had an incredibly strong dump on these 2 weeks right here. The price basically halved within 14 days, which was pretty crazy. And then from there, we formed a huge rally. It took about 60 days and we moved up by 40%, but we stopped at 25K. So formidable area of resistance. We couldn't get above it, and it took us a whole 6 months to get back up here. Let me just make sure that time frame is correct. I might be wrong about that. Yeah, it took a whole 180 days, 6 months to get back up to this very same price level again, and we got rejected again. So this really clearly tells us that 25K was an incredibly strong area of resistance, and now that we're above it, and we've been bleeding into it, we've had a good number of consecutive kind of weekly candles trending down overall. In fact, I'm sure if we actually look at 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's MRI indicator, we're going to see this really clearly. Let's take a quick look at this. So we're only on a 6. Those of you who watch 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's will know what this means. I'm not going to spend too much time here, but what this indicator does is it kind of counts the downtrend. And when you reach 9 or 13, that's kind of when you expect to reverse. So according to this, we've got a good few weeks left of being in a downtrend. But if you just kind of look at it, and I don't actually use 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's indicator very much. For me, it's a little bit too complex. But I'm just eyeballing it. I'm just trying to see, like, look, okay, well, how long were we trending up for? How long are we trending down for? Does it look that it's generally okay? Hell yeah, of course it does. This is a beautiful area of support because it was such a strong area of resistance, and we've been trending down into it for 9 weeks. We've had a couple up candles, but really it's been a downtrend. And that's, what you want to see. You want to see that you're slowly bleeding into a really strong area of support. You want to see that that's happening while the fear and greed index is pulling back. This is bad. I wanted to see a really bearish, kind of setup here on the long and short ratio. But and that's been the only thing that's kind of, been throwing a spanner in the works for me lately. But the point still stands. I mean, if everything else is showing me that this is a good area of support and it's only the long and short ratio that says we might drop lower, then I'm not going to read into that too much. I'm still totally open to a 24, 23.7. Even I told you guys 21.5 is a really good area of support for Bitcoin too. I'm still open to these price levels for Bitcoin, and they wouldn't concern me if Bitcoin fell down there. Obviously, it does just mean that the problem, right, is that if we keep losing levels like this, then we find resistance, and that's where it gets bad, right? Like it's a lot, like this isn't bad. Like whether Bitcoin bottomed out over here at 26.7 or whether Bitcoin bottoms out over here at 25 or whether it happened here, it doesn't really matter because the resistance is here. So no matter where we go, like no matter where we start our bounce from, whether we start our bounce from here or if we started it from here or from here, the resistance level is the same. And the really good news is, and you can see this really clearly on the weekly time frame, the only price action Bitcoin has ever had, the only price history that Bitcoin has ever had between 25K and 30K happened here, here, and here. And in all of these instances, kind of except for the last one, it's really clear that there's nothing happening in this range. You zip all the way down and then you zip all the way back up and then you zip all the way down. And we did that on the way up as well. And on the way down, it was more or less the same too. You know, if we look at this on the daily time frame, it does become a little bit more complicated, but it's still clear. I mean, you know, if you break above this box, you're going to the next one. And if you get rejected here, you're going down to this one. And this is the point I'm trying to make to you guys, is that the resistance level stays the same. It doesn't really matter where we start our bounce from, and that's why I'm not worried. We don't have new resistance. We've got all of these like intraday levels, which are definitely going to complicate things for Bitcoin, but we don't have anything that's formidable. 30K is formidable. 25K was formidable. We don't have that. The resistance is the same, and this is, I was telling you guys about this when the market dropped down to 17K. If you remember, tell me in the comment section. Just say I remember, because this is one of the best things I've ever told you guys on YouTube, and I'm saying it again right now. Smash up the likes if you do appreciate this. I want you to visualize these markets in terms of levels, not percentage. You know, if you really just kind of step back and understand what's going on this chart, especially on the weekly time frame, it's so much easier. That's why I'm showing it to you on this weekly time frame, to really make my point very clear. We've got a few key levels, and I said this to you guys when we were at 17K. I said, look, I know that this looks really scary, but we don't have more resistance levels. We still just have 20K, and it would only take a drop below basically 12,000. If we drop below 12,000, then that would be a new area of resistance. But we're talking about big resistance levels, right? Not small ones. So, anywhere from, 20K down to 13K down to 12K is fine. The resistance level stays the same. If we drop below it, then yes, okay, now we have a new resistance area. We have a new battle to fight. But, right now we don't. I mean, we can drop down to the bottom of this. We can even drop a little bit lower. We're not going to have new resistance. The resistance stays the same. And when you visualize the market in terms of levels, you're a lot more calm. Like, it doesn't really matter how low the price drops, as long as you don't fail your major support areas. And we haven't done that yet. We're at the major support area right now. So I know it's really tempting to get super bearish here, but it's just not the right thing to do from, the kind of learning that I had in trading, the kind of books that I've read in trading. They always told me to, expect support at support levels and to expect resistance at resistance levels. And I'm saying it in a way that kind of makes it sound stupid, because it is stupid if you ignore these things, typically, in my experience. And that's just been how it's been for me. That's how I've made my money. That's why I've got quite strong opinions on this, that typically support levels provide support and typically resistance levels provide resistance. No surprise there, really. It shouldn't really be a surprising kind of revelation for you or anything like that. But here we are. We don't have a new area of resistance, and we haven't failed our support levels, and fear and greed index is dropping down, and traditional finance is still looking bullish as ever, which is what we want to see. I mean, you do have to start asking the question now, well, how much longer can we keep trending up without, any sort of correction? But these indices, they can just kind of keep going and going and going, like without a pullback. I mean, look at this. From this resistance level, the next kind of pullback we had took 90 days, and it only lasted like a fairly short period of time. The major pullback that we had, this isn't even the next major pullback that we had, from breaking the resistance level to getting up there, it took basically 12 months. So I'm sorry, 10 months. So, I mean, these indices can rally, pretty much without stopping for some time. And, the last time we had a major pullback wasn't actually that long ago. We've only been trending up for about 90 days. So I don't know, you take that as you may, but indices are one of the things that can definitely rally pardon me, sorry, for quite some time, basically without stopping. And there is no more resistance, right? I mean, I've been talking to you guys about this for some time as well. I don't really see any more resistance on this chart until we get up to this green line. The dollar is dropping right now. It's punched in a new lower high. I mean, it's just the same. I told you guys that if we punch in a lower high here, we're going to start having a descending triangle, and it's going to start looking a little bit like this. I mean, this fits in, it fucking drops down like in 2024 Q1. That's the halving for Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't know what that is, go search it up. Bitcoin halving. Really, really important. And that's typically when markets get super, super bullish. So, I mean, it just kind of, I don't know if that's going to happen, and it's way too early, right? Because we've only kind of drawn, well, it's not too early now. We've validated the line. We've got 3 attempts at this resistance level. So it's not even too early to talk about this right now, in my opinion. But this is what we're dealing with, I mean, the setup is good. It's just not that scary. I think if you step back and just kind of appreciate the facts that we're playing with here, I don't like that we've dropped down this low and that, traditional finance is rallying and Bitcoin isn't. But it's still, nothing has changed. That's where I feel I'm at right now. And that's why I'm just not super worried about it, to be honest with you guys. So there you go. I hope you have enjoyed this one. You know what to do if you have. Hit up the like, subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. And I'll see you all in the next YouTube video. You already know the deal. If you want to get access to all these beautiful bonuses, you have over $100,000. This is outdated in bonuses with the description down below. Check them all out. Depending on what you deposit and trade with, you're going to be getting these bonuses. BingX, like I said, access to many, many markets that we don't typically have access to. And Bybit, up to 30K in trading ammunition, which is just fucking crazy, just absolutely insane. So check them out if you are interested, and I'll see you all in the very next video. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.